How are y'all?
Good morning. There's a House vote. What's the White
I know that the president speaks obviously to the Senate all the time. Our team is in constant contact with members of the Senate. It's pretty clear the president wants a trial. He said it publicly many times. In fact, he's even talked about some of the witnesses that we want to call, whether it be Adam Schiff, the whistleblower, Hunter Biden, or Joe Biden. So he wants to move forward, and we'll see what form that takes in the near future, I'm sure. Yeah, look, the president wants it sooner rather than later. I think that's pretty obvious as well. But again, in what form that takes, time will tell. The president always is encouraged or wants the administration to testify because the president's done nothing wrong. He has nothing to hide. When the Democrats stack the deck 3-1 with their constitutional attorneys, it doesn't scream confidence. And in fact, it telegraphs weakness. This president wants members of his administration to cooperate, but the rules have to be fair. They have to be what they have been for past administrations, for past impeachments. And so far, as you guys have seen, he's done them all, Adam Schiff that is, has done them all behind closed doors. We weren't allowed to call witnesses. We weren't allowed to cross-examine. We weren't allowed to put forth evidence. And so, until that happens, until they actually give us a fair shot, I don't think anyone's going to be going forward at this time. The president's eager to get his story out, as he usually is, because he's done nothing wrong, despite Democrats moving forward without proof, without evidence. And look, this has all been predetermined. Let's be very clear. Before we released the transcript, Nancy Pelosi said we're moving forward with impeachment. Then we got a letter from Jerry Nadler saying, I want you to cooperate and do these things. Before we responded, she said we're moving forward with impeachment. So this was predetermined from the outset. She said just the other day that she'd been working on impeachment for 2.5 years. So it's very clear this is something they wanted. They were going to move to that regardless. And when she mentioned that it had to be all bipartisan, that this would tear apart the country, it's not bipartisan. In fact, the only people that have gotten votes to come to their side are us who don't want the impeachment. So that's something she's going to have to answer for.
Are you concerned some Republicans could turn against the president in the Senate?
Not at this point. I mean, listen, we have very robust conversations with Republicans in the House and in the Senate. In fact, they span all districts, from the staunchest Trump districts to far left districts. And everyone we've talked to understands that, number one, the president's done nothing wrong. Number two, the process is unfair. And number three, Democrats have done nothing for the American people their entire time in Congress while we continue to work for the American people. And when the only vote that was called was cast, Republicans stood together and it was Democrats who actually defected.